Let me explain to you why I use a Victron Smart Shunt to keep track of my battery state of charge instead of using the state of charge that's in the BMS itself. So this morning I woke up and I did what I normally do. I grabbed my phone and I took a look at, where the batteries are at on the inverters. They've been running for the past couple of days. And when I logged into my solar assistant, I got this screen. So I came downstairs to check the inverters and lo and behold, the utility room is quiet. And it turns out that I had another low voltage disconnect on my battery packs. Now, I haven't turned on the AC input on the inverters because I'm still doing some small testing and I didn't want it to fall over to grid during that testing. And when I went to bed last night, my solar assistant said that I had 63% state of charge. And yet, obviously, that was way, way off. So, for those of you that are not familiar with my environment here, let me show you what I've got. So I've got the two EG4 EX inverters, two 280 amp hour packs, each pack running a JK BMS. And then, as I stated earlier, I have a Victron Smart Shunt doing my state of charge monitoring, as well as a Raspberry Pi running my solar assistant. So if you've been following my channel for any length of time, you know that I had my inverters sent out for RMA. I had just received the replacements earlier this week. So I got them all installed, and so before this week, the Victron Smart Shunt actually had a shortcoming in my opinion. Anytime it lost battery power, it would lose your state of charge, or it would reset back to 100%, whatever you had set up in the settings. So this meant that anytime your power dropped to your smart shunt, for whatever reason, you either had to remember where your state of charge was at, or you had to basically start from zero and then wait until it recharged to recalibrate where it was at. Well, earlier this week, they released a new version, and if I can find it, I'll put it up on the screen here. And this version gives you the option to remember your state of charge when it loses power, which is awesome, because anytime I'm doing any testing, if I forget to write down what the state of charge is, shoot, now I have to recharge everything back up to 100% to be able to figure out where it's properly at. And this update came out after my replacement inverters were received. And so I just had to look at the BMS values to see, all right, where's the state of charge at? And so I opened up my BMS app and I looked at the state of charge for both packs. And both packs said that they were around 70%. And so I programmed that into the Smart Shunt thinking, all right, well, if both packs are telling me they're at 70%, then obviously it's supposed to be accurate. It's gotta be. And so I ran it for several days, let some solar recharge, ran my boiler pump off of it. Everything worked great. And like I said at the beginning, where my state of charge was around 52, 53% last night when I went to bed. Should have been plenty. With the loads, it should have dropped maybe 10%. And when I got up this morning, I saw that dreaded disconnect screen on my solar assistant app and came downstairs and lo and behold, low voltage disconnects. And so after I got everything squared away, I logged back into Solar Assistant. You can see my load output right around 90 watts, 604, 605, 610, it drops off, 611, it's down to 0. The state of charge here still shows 44 watts because that's what the Smart Shunt it still has recorded. But you can see here, battery power goes to nothing. So right around this time is when my batteries disconnected with a low voltage disconnect. And then you can see right around here, right around 9 o'clock, I ended up resetting. After I got everything squared away with the batteries, then I got everything turned back on, then I went in and I reset the state of charge in the Victron to 0% state of charge because obviously the battery's disconnected, so I knew I was at the bottom of the battery capacity. So the BMSs ended up telling me that I still had plenty of power when I didn't. So obviously the BMSs have to be relying on some kind of voltage to determine the state of charge instead of actually calculating the amp hours that come in and out. That's the only thing that makes sense to me. Whereas, you know, the Smart Shunt keeps an accurate count of amp hours that come in and out of the batteries. So that's why I want to use an external monitor, and in this case a Victron Smart Shunt, to keep track of my battery capacity. The BMS's, the numbers, even though I have done several, probably close to dozens of charges and discharges, full charges and discharges, cycles on those packs, they still have not been able to calculate the proper state of charge. So I was extremely excited when I saw that Victron came out with that update to remember the state of charge, because now I don't have to remember to log into my Smart Shunt, take a screenshot of the state of charge, and then power everything down, and when I power it back up, punch in what the old state of charge was. I like the JK BMSs. I mean, I love the 2 amp balancing, but I just wish that they could accurately keep track of their state of charge. But I already had the Smart Shunt, so I'm going to use it. And it's been the most accurate tool that I have seen to be able to keep track of my battery charge and discharge. So, nice little short and sweet one. Hopefully it's helpful to somebody. I don't know if anybody else has noticed the little shortcoming in the state of charge for the BMS, but when I went to bed last night, I had 50-some%. When I woke up this morning, the furnace was running an awful lot and the boiler was shut off, and my solar system in the basement was all shut down. So, thank you, Victron, for finally recording the state of charge when the batteries get disconnected. And with that, I'm going to let y'all go. Y'all stay safe, stay warm, and we'll catch up with you later.